Nation, it is your boy JB, and I am here with a special video. And in this video, I am going to talk about I'm gonna rank the morphing sequences just from, least to favorite. So, I think I counted total like 25 different morphing sequences. Actually, it might be more than that. But without further ado, we're just gonna go ahead and just start it up. All right, so on the first on the list is going to be the morph for Power Rangers Super Megaforce. So the reason why I ranked the morph for Super Megaforce so low is because I actually just really did not like you guys who are used to me and watching me do know that Super Megaforce is not one of my favorite seasons. And I've talked about it numerous times why Super Megaforce is not my favorite season. And I'm not going to go into great detail about why Super Megaforce is not my favorite season. But I will explain why I don't like that morphing sequence. And mostly the reason why I don't like the morphing sequence is because it was taken specifically from the Sentai counterpart, Gokaiger. I think for a 25th anniversary, for an anniversary season, they could have done a little bit more with the morph instead of just, Super Mega Mode, and then they just put the keys in there and turn it, and then it's just Super Mega Force Blue, and their mouths didn't move, so it was just voiced over. So that is why I could not get with Super Mega Force's morph. Like, I wish they had done something completely different. Like, they did something different. Well, actually, I don't know if they did something different for Megaforce, because I didn't watch the Sentai counterpart of Megaforce. But Super Megaforce's morph ranks very low in my book. And like I said, if you've been around and heard me talk about Super Megaforce, you know how I feel about it. So we're just gonna move on to the next one on the list. All right, so next on the list is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 morph. And it's including two different morphs, because in Season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, there were two different morphing sequences. If you guys remember from the pilot episode, that morph, I did not like that morph at all, because the morph from the pilot episode was kind of basically a flash morph. They put, they held up their transmorphers as they called them in the pilot episode, and they called for, Mastodon, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Saber-toothed Tiger, and Tyrannosaurus, and they just transformed, and that was it. And then the actual Season 1 morph, it just looked kind of janky and bootleg to me, because there was no, how do I want to put this? Cohesiveness. It wasn't cohesive, because if you look at season 1's morph, and then you go on down to season 2 morph with Rocky, Adam, Aisha when they joined the team, and even with Tommy. If you look at their morphs, it was all kind of synced together, and they kind of matched and they meshed. But with Season 1's morph, they didn't mesh and it didn't match at all. It just looked kind of, disjointed. So that is why Season 1, the pilot episode, and the Season 1 morph in general just was not my favorite. But let me know if you guys like the Season 1 morph. Like I said, don't like it. It's not horrible, but it's not the best. So we're gonna keep moving with the next one. Next up is the Season 2 morph. So I like the Season 2 morph. It was a little bit, like I said before, it was better than what we got in Season 1. And when I'm saying Season 2, I mean the second half, when we got Rocky, Adam, Aisha, Tommy as a White Ranger, and Billy and Kimberly. I did like their morph better because it cohesively flowed together. They all had on the tank tops with their colors, white, pink, black, blue, yellow. I missed somebody. And black, I think, white, black, pink, blue, yellow, and red. They all had on those tank tops that match one another. Now, when I say I don't like that season's morph, the reason why I don't like it is because of, how bulky they all looked. Like, they all looked like they had muscles, when we all know that the girls did not have muscles like that. And even Billy, at that time, I know Billy was starting to work out, but he didn't have, bulging muscles. Actually, none of them had bulging muscles, so that was what I did not like about the Season 2 morph. Just, it could have been better. And I think they finally got it right and we're gonna get to when they finally got it right. Was they finally got it right with season 3's morph, and we'll get to season 3 at a certain point on the list. I don't know where season 3 is on the list, but we'll get to it. All right, so next up are the Alien Rangers. The Alien Rangers. I like their morph, but I did not like their morph at the same time. I think that their morph was actually kind of cool. You know, the fact that they had the little things, and it also looked like Zordon's energy tube. Like their energy, like the tubes came up over them and they transformed, and that was it. I just wish, you know, with that one, they could have done a little bit more, maybe not. I don't know. But the Alien Rangers is not a favorite of mine. It's not a morph that I, you know, like. Sometimes I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch, you know, the past, you know, the morphs of every season, and that's just one that I'm just like, you know, okay, it is what it is. I like it's okay for what it is, and it was significantly better than the season 1 and the season 2 morphs of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So it was definitely a step in the right direction. So we're gonna move on to the next morph of the videos of the seasons. Why did I say videos? All right. So next on the list is going to be Power Rangers Zeo. Now with Zeo, the reason why I've ranked Zeo where I ranked Zeo is literally because of the fact that with Zeo's morph was a copy of the Sentai's morph. Only difference was we used our actual actors, but their morph was just copy and paste of Zeo of the Sentai. I can't think of the Sentai I can't think of the Sentai's name right now. It's on my brain, but I can't think of it. But yeah, that season's, you know, Zeo's morph I did not like at all. Did not like it. I wish, and kind of like what I said. Well, actually with Zeo's, I wish it's actually kind of like what I said with Super Megaforce. I wish that they had, you know, since this was a new series and a new adaptation. Like they could have went completely and did, you know, could have done something completely different, and you know that would have been cool. But I did like the morph. I just know that from what I saw in the footage of the Sentai, that's they replicated that morph, and I think again, I think they could have did a little bit more with that. But it is what it is. All right. So next on the list is going to be the season 1 morph of Power Rangers Turbo. I absolutely hated the season 1 morph of Turbo, and it could also be because I didn't like the first half of season 1 of Turbo, you know. And it's so funny because I love when it comes down to the, you know, I love Tommy. You know, when it comes to Catherine, I have a love-hate relationship with Catherine. I loved Catherine as Zeo Ranger 1 Pink, but I did not like her as Mighty Morphin Pink, and I did not like her as Turbo Pink. And it's so weird. Like when I think of Mighty Morphin Pink, I always think of Kimberly. Zeo Ranger 1 Pink, I think of, you know, Catherine. And then when I think of the Turbo, Wind Chaser Turbo, Wind Chaser Pink Ranger, I'm stumbling up my words here. But when I think of that one, I think of Cassie. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that, but when I think of the Pink Turbo Ranger, I think of Cassie. I never really think of Catherine. And so I just, and that was the thing about the Turbo, this first half of Turbo's morph that I did not like. You know, them calling out their Mountain Blaster Turbo Power. Doo-doo, doom, and then he grew and his mask came around him. That was the one thing about it I did not like, was Justin. And then, you know, Desert Thunder Turbo Power. I didn't like that. Doomstar Turbo Power. Wind Chaser Turbo Power. Red Lightning Turbo Power. Like, I just did not like all that. Like, did they have to really just announce their turbo powers? Like, we know who you are. You didn't have to announce it. So yeah, that one, and it's like I said, it's just really interesting because I'm a big fan of. I love Tommy. I think I think at this point we're starting to overkill Tommy. I love Tommy. I love Adam. I love, you know, Tanya. I love Catherine. I do. Just not as Turbo Pink and just not as the Mighty Morphin Pink. Zeo Ranger 1, she actually made that her own, and that was when I began to like Catherine as a Ranger, that was when, and it's so crazy. That's when I began to like Crush the Ranger. But moving on, you guys. All right, you guys. So next on the list is going to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3's Morph. And so there were two morphs in Season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You had them in their civilian form, and you had them in their Ranger Ninja powers. Actually, there were three different morphs. When they morphed into the Ranger Ninja powers, when they morphed into their suits in civilian form, and when they morphed into their suits in the Ranger Ninja powers. And that's what I was saying earlier about, you know, I think they finally found a fit that worked for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because Season 1's morph was all over the place. It just did not mesh well. And then Season 2, they got it right, but the fact that they looked so bulky did not work well. But then they figured it out, like they, with the Season 3 morph, they kind of reverted back to what Season 1's morphs looked like, but they all kind of had them in, that's what I was trying to say, unison. It all flowed together in unison, especially when they were in their ninja suits. In their ninja suits, you know, it was White Ranger power, Black Ranger power, Pink Ranger power, Blue Ranger power, Yellow Ranger power, Red Ranger power. So it flowed, it was cohesive, it was in unison, and it just meshed perfectly. Even when they were in their civilian form and they morphed, it was still, like I said, it looked like Mighty Morphin Season 1's morph, but better because they all flowed together so perfectly. So that's why I had to rank 1 and 2 so low, but come back with 3, because 3, it actually made up for what 1 did not do and what 2 was trying to do. But like I said, with number 2, with Season 2, they just look so bulky to me, and they look like they had just the CGI of that just did not look good at all. So we're gonna move on to the next one on the list. All right, so next on the list is going to be Power Rangers in Space. Power Rangers in Space Morph was, and I can tell you exactly why I've ranked Power Rangers in Space Morph where I've ranked it. The reason why I ranked it here, number 1, is one of my favorite seasons. I could not put it at the top of my list, but I couldn't put it at the bottom of the list either, because it's not horrible, because it did have some originality to it. And the only thing that was original about it, and that was only in the first episode, you know, from Out of Nowhere Part 2, and in the Galaxy episode, the Lost Galaxy episode. Those were the only times where you saw them when they opened their eyes. That was the only original thing about it, and that was the one thing that I did like about it. But as far as the morphing sequence altogether, that morphing sequence was once again a copy. It actually wasn't even a copy. They just pasted that from the Sentai footage, which I can't think of now. With that Sentai, I don't know the name of it, but you know, they literally just copy and pasted that one and put it there. So I can't say I like that one, because I really didn't, but I don't hate it at the same time. But let me know what you guys think. So we're gonna move on to the next. All right, you guys. So next on the list is Ninja Steel. Now with Ninja Steel, the reason why I ranked Ninja Steel's morph, I actually liked their morph. I think it was pretty cool. But the thing about Ninja Steel's morph was in the first half of in Season 1 in Power Rangers Ninja Steel, not Super Ninja Steel, but in Power Rangers Ninja Steel, it took them a minute to finally lock down the way that the Rangers was gonna morph, because I think in multiple episodes they morphed different ways, and it was just never cohesive. It was never cohesive. I think it didn't become cohesive until we got towards the end of the season, like in the middle of the season. I think it really got cohesive after the hiatus, when we found out that Levi Weston was the Gold Ranger. Excuse me, you guys. But yeah, that morph was not cohesive at all to me. Like I said, they just had different random styles of morphing. So I just never knew what style was like, okay, so how do they morph? Like if I want to replicate it, if I want to, you know, do a video about it, you know, me morphing, how would I do it? So that's why Ninja Steel is ranked where it is. I did like their morphing sequence. It just wasn't, like I said, just in the first few episodes, it just was not cohesive at all. So you just really didn't know what their morphing sequence really looked like. All right, you guys. So next on the list is going to be Samurai. Samurai's morph. I do enjoy Samurai's morph because I think it was actually pretty cool. The fact that they wrote their symbols out and then it morphed. The thing about Samurai that I did not like about their morphing sequence was their suits. And it was not, I'm not talking about their costumes. So you guys remember when they used to morph and they had on, you know, before they morphed, they would have those. Now, they're samurais. The thing about samurai was their morphing sequence, they dressed as ninjas and not samurais. And that was the big thing for me about samurai's morph was the fact that they dressed as ninjas. I'm like, why are they, and that was my question from day one. Why do they have on ninja costumes when they're samurais? Like, you can have them in some kind of, I don't know what they could have dressed them as. Because they're, I mean, you could have, I mean, since it's a samurai season, you could have had them in some kind of a samurai garb, like anything. But to be dressed as ninjas, I thought that was kind of interesting, to say the least, that they were dressed as ninjas. So that's why Samurai is ranked where it is, because of the ninjas. Other than that, the morphing sequence was really cool. Extremely cool. I wonder what that budget was for that season. They couldn't have had a high budget. And you know, that's what I wonder when it comes down to like seasons like, you know, Samurai, Super Samurai, Megaforce, and Super Megaforce. I just wonder if they had a low budget to produce those seasons. And if that's why we got what we got. But we're gonna move on because that's not what I'm talking about in this video. All right, so next on the list, Beast Morphers. Beast Morphers, I love their morphing sequence, but actually, and the real reason why I rank Beast Morphers right here is because I don't remember it right now. Because I haven't saw Beast Morphers since the hiatus. God, and that was back in, was that May that we got the hiatus? I think that was, it was either April or May when we got the hiatus. And we're now in August and we still have no Beast, well, technically we have Beast Morphers, but I'm not watching it. I'm waiting for it to come back in the US. I don't want any international spoilers. I just can't do it. I'm interested in this season. This season is really good and I don't want to spoil it. So I rank Beast Morphers right here because I just don't remember what the morph looked like that much. So sorry guys. All right, you guys. So next on the list is Megaforce. I really did like Megaforce morph. The only thing about Megaforce's morph that I didn't like was, again, the voiceovers. For Megaforce and Super Megaforce, they did so many voiceovers for the morph, but the way that they morphed was actually pretty cool. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think parts of Megaforce's morph was taken from the Sentai counterpart of, damn, I can't think of what the Sentai counterpart's name is right now. It's crazy. Like, I can't think of any Sentai counterpart besides Gokaiger. That's crazy. And Zooranger from, you know, Mighty Morphin. But yeah, I like Megaforce's morph. I just wish that with Megaforce's morph, they could have probably, you know, said something. I mean, they did say something, but can their lips move? Like, but you know, I'm being, at this point, I'm just being nitpicky. Really, I do realize I'm being nitpicky. So we're gonna keep it pushing. All right, so now on the list, we're starting to get to the ones that I really love. So there's not gonna be any reasons why I don't like them, but we're gonna take it, I think we're gonna do 5 at a time until I get to my top 3, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're gonna do 5 at a time until we get to the top 3. So next on the list, I put Power Rangers Time Force. I think Time Force had an amazing morphing sequence, and the top of the list on Time Force was Eric's morph. Eric, for that season, had the best morph of all of the Rangers. Hands down, Eric's morph was #1 in the book of Time Force. Next on the list is going to be Lightspeed Rescue. Lightspeed Rescue, I absolutely love their morph as well. The fact that they morphed in, it's like, you know, when they, you know, they Lightspeed Rescue, and it just came, you know, whatever that was, it just went out and it just covered them. And then when they did their flash morphs, I thought that that was excellently done as well. And then I love Ryan's morph. So that's why Lightspeed Rescue is there. Next on the list is going to be Power Rangers Wild Force. Wild Force, the main reason why I love Wild Force's morph is because it was the first season to use cell phones as morphers, and then the cell phones transformed into a humanoid, which was the Rangers, and they would morph. I thought that was cool, which I know that is Sentai footage as well. Interesting. So next on the list we have Power Rangers Mystic Force. Mystic Force. I think again, Mystic Force, this was a magical season, and the fact they use cell phones, which was a wand. I absolutely love Mystic Force's morph. Next on the list is going to be Power Rangers Ninja Storm. Yeah, Ninja Storm. I like Ninja Storm's morph. Ninja Storm, Ranger form. Yeah. Their morph was pretty cool. Something just flew in my eye, you guys. So that's why I missed one in my eye, because something literally just flew in it. So I'm actually gonna stop right here. All right, you guys, so the next 5 on the list, which I realized I messed up my list, because this one was supposed to be a little bit higher up than what it is. But actually, when I say higher up, it should have been back with the last 5 that I did, but it's okay. So next on the list is Power Rangers Turbos, the second half, when TJ, Cassie, Ashley, Carlos, and TJ, I think I said TJ, Cassie, Ashley, and Carlos, when those 4 showed up, I love their morph. I love the morph. See, and I was slightly surprised about their morph, because like I was saying before, when it came down to Turbo's morph, you know, the first half of Turbo, they, you know, yelled out Mountain Blaster Turbo Power. I was expecting that from Cassie, TJ, Ashley, and Carlos. But we didn't get that, and I was like, okay, that's cool. At first, I did not like it, but then it finally grew on me. I'm like, that is actually significantly better than what we had the first half of the season. So next on the list is the Dino Thunder team. Dino Thunder, hands down, is one of the top morphs of all time. Dino Thunder, power up. Yeah. Hands down, one of the top morphs of all time. Next on the list is Operation Overdrive. Now, I know a lot of people do not like Operation Overdrive, and I'm one of those people who don't like Operation Overdrive, but when I go back and look at Operation Overdrive, it's not nearly as bad as I made it out to be, but it's not that good either. But their morph was pretty cool. And next on the list is going to be Lost Galaxy's morph. I'm not going to include what happened in Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, because that episode should never have happened. But I love Lost Galaxy's morph, and they completely deviated away from the Sentai of Gingaman's morph completely, which I absolutely 100% appreciated from them. And then next on the list is going to be RPM. RPM had a great morph. Oh my god. I wish I had, you know what? I could have ranked RPM in my top 3, but I didn't, because my top 3, you just can't beat these morphs to me, I don't feel. So in my top 3, you guys can pretty much guess which seasons they are, because I haven't talked about them. But we're just going to go ahead and just jump right into my top 3 morphs of all time. You know, it's so funny that I didn't rank my favorite season, which is Lost Galaxy, in my top 10 morph, my top 3 morph. But at least made my top 10. It's actually in my top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's in my top 5, but it's not in my top 3. So my top 3 morphs of all time. Number 3 is going to be Power Rangers Dino Charge. Dino Charge had, for me, I love that morph. That morph is hands down phenomenal, and it's actually it's the best morph in the, you know, the Neo Saban season for me, hands down. You know, and I remember when Dino Charge came about, you know, people were like, oh, so what are they gonna do about the you know, the Sentai morph? Because in Sentai they did the dancing, and you know, people were like, they're not gonna do the dancing. And I was kind of happy that they did not do that dancing, but they still kept some parts of it, you know, because they didn't do the dance, but they did, you know, they did they spin, and they put their, you know, their Dino Charger in, unleash the power. Where is it energized? Yeah, unleash the power. So I love that. I love that. So the top two morphs of all time. So you got two seasons to pick from. You got SPD and you got Jungle Fury. Do you guys have any idea which one might be number one and which one might be number two on my list? You might be surprised at which one is number one and which one's number two. So, number two on the list. Number two is going to come down to SPD. SPD, I love SPD's morph. SPD, emergency. And then they just zoom back. I love that. And if you guys go back and look at SPD's morph, look at Bridge. When Bridge morphs, Bridge goes, he dabs. I'm like, and I saw that in a comment on the morphs when they were doing those they were doing those morphing sequences of the 25-year history, and somebody pointed out in the comments that Bridge dabs, and I'm like, you're so right. They pretty much all do dab, but Bridge definitely hit the dab on them. And then number one on the list obviously is Jungle Fury. Jungle Fury to me has the best morph of all time. You know, I know a lot of people do not like the fact that they use sunglasses to morph, but when they did, you know, especially when they did all that stuff and they just, oh my God, Jungle Fury's morph is hands down the best morph in my personal opinion. But that's my list. Let me know what your favorite morph is and what your least favorite morph is. Leave it in the comment section down below and let's discuss. So until next time, Ranger Nation, later.